Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to PBIC Academic Talk. Before we start, I would like to have a honor of our Vice Dean of Academic Affairs, Assistant Professor Dr. Dulayapak Prisharat to give us an opening remark.
Okay. Good afternoon. It is my privilege to be here and give an opening remark to all of you today. First of all, I would like to express my special thanks to our staff, especially from the Department of Academic Affairs, PD Phnom Yong International College, for putting the great effort for this seminar. The topic for our discussion and presentation today is about the relationship between India and ASEAN. When we talk about the connectivity between India and Southeast Asia, we often recall to the process of Indianization. Indianization process is rather unique and quite different from the Chinese influence in pre-modern Southeast Asia. Because in the context of Chinese influence, we can see the strong military colonization aggressively in pre-modern Southeast Asia. But in contrast, we have not yet seen any military conflict between India and Southeast Asia in the past, with the exception of some cases. For example, the maritime conflict between Chola Empire and Srivijaya in the past. However, we can say that the rise of India is rather peaceful when compared with China. Even one of the most prominent scholars in Southeast Asian affairs and international politics between India and Southeast Asia, Amitav Anchaya, he also tried to conceptualize the new framework by comparing the Indianization process in Southeast Asia with the spread of Hellenistic civilization in Mediterranean world. And he conceptualized the idea and provide some uniqueness about political, economic, and commercial extension of India in pre-colonial Southeast Asia. However, during the British colonialism in Southeast Asia and South Asia, as well as the atmosphere of Cold War politics, it seemed to be that the power of India in Southeast Asia was rather limited comparing to USA, USSR, or China. But after the fall of the Cold War, as well as the rising of ASEAN as the new economic power, Indian government has tried many times to conduct her new foreign and economic policy based on the concept of Look East policy, which was then transformed under Modi administration into Act East foreign policy. And nowadays, we cannot deny the reality that India cannot be separated entirely from ASEAN. And in the context of geopolitics, one of the most powerful strategic thinker in Indian Navy diplomacy used to compare the geo-body of the western part of maritime Southeast Asia with the shape of the crocodile jar. The upper part of the crocodile jar represents the Malayan Peninsula. The lower part represents Indonesia, Aceh, and Sumatra, and the area in between is the Strait of Malacca. Whoever commands this area commands the Bay of Bengal. Whoever commands the Bay of Bengal commands the destiny of India. This is the reality. So according to the significance I have already mentioned, we cannot deny the power and the systematic interconnection between India and Southeast Asia. And it is in this way that we have tried so hard to provide the fruitful conversation and in-depth insights and perspective about the relationship between India and ASEAN to all of you today. And it is our great pleasure and opportunity to welcome Dr. Mohammad Fahim, the head of Indian Study Program, PD Phnom Yong International College. He is a well-known geographer who specializes on the geographical configuration of northern India, Uttara Pradesh, as well as physical connectivity between India and ASEAN, especially Thailand and Myanmar. Okay, and next we also have Professor Jalan Marulim, the two experts of Middle East, India, and Malaysia. He is now a professor at the Department of International Affairs, Faculty of Political Science, Thammasat University. Dr. Jalan, if I'm not wrong, got bachelor degree, master degree, and doctoral degree from Alika University, India. So he is one of the most famous expert on Indian affairs in Thai society. So for the next section, I would like to welcome and focus on India-ASEAN relations challenges and prospects. I do hope that this seminar will greatly contribute to our better and deeper understanding about engagement and interconnection between India and Southeast Asia or ASEAN. And in order to save time and move directly to the impressive essence of our seminar today, please approach to our two guest speakers and welcome to the fruitful presentation and discussion today. ปรบมือหน่อยครับ
Thank you, Achan. It is my pleasure to be a part of this PBIC academic talk. And the topic of this seminar is very interesting, and this is my, you can say, expertise, India-ASEAN challenges and prospect. Achan already mentioned many, he already concise, but I will try to give some more information in terms of the overviews of India-ASEAN relationship. Being a geographer, always I try to find the place of politics is a matter of things. And in this regard, if you think about India and ASEAN country, you will see that what is a very common entity between two things, India and ASEAN. To me, what I realize is social geography in terms of how to manage the diversity, because India is also one of the most diverse country, and they have a lot of cultures, and that is why India is called a country of many countries. It means that there are a lot of states which are bigger than many countries in the world. So on the other hand, ASEAN itself is a very diverse, the country of the one entity, if you considered, it is nearly 650 million population, have a diverse cultural groups. So my talk will be some overviews, and I will try to give the picture of basically what is happened in the recent scenario, the India-ASEAN relation. But I will also point it out that some historical linkage between India and Southeast Asia, so-called as ASEAN countries. So before I'm going to touch, we all know that ASEAN is a group of 10 countries of Southeast Asian countries, consist of the 10 countries, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore, and Indochina countries. Like Indochina part is Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. So what I am going to deliver here is that if over the period of time, the relationship between India and ASEAN country is nurtured through the cultural and civilizational linkage. If you see, almost every country of Southeast Asian is influenced by India, as Achan already mentioned about that, except some extent the Vietnam is not considered, but other country, either you can talk about the Malaysia, there is an Indian community. If you talk about the Indonesia, is a Hindu temples. Cambodia is also, they have a temples which is directly linked with the eastern coast of India. Okay, and Singapore, no doubt about this also because of the British role as well. So, and Thailand, of course, the religion of Buddhism also touch upon, and also the language of Thai language itself is originated from the Pali language of Sanskrit. So in this way, we can say that there is a multifaceted combinations from the historical perspective. You can see there is a linkage, and if you see the real test of relationship between India and ASEAN, you can observe when the India adopted new economic policy in 1991. Then Prime Minister late P.V. Narasimha Rao, he reformed economic reform in the countries, followed by the Lucas policy, the part of the foreign policy of India, to look into to enhance the economic relationship. And at that time also, uh, Southeast Asian countries, ASEAN was more prosperous already 25 years altogether, and recently all the 10 countries were there. And so that is why, and after that, the relation has been stepped. So if I try to be divide what is the relation between two entity, there are three phases. The first phase, of course, we have to see the cultural and civilization linkage in the past before the 13th century. And after that, colonies, particularly the British, came in India, and also they brought Indianness in this region, particularly in Malaysia and in Singapore. Okay, so that also, and it was totally strategic in nature because they brought the laborers, indentured labor, to work in the this Malay Peninsula, and that is why. And also you can see, if you take, not only one thing I would like to add here also, in this Southeast Asian country, not only Buddhism, but it's also the Islam. The Islam coming from of course, coming to this Southeast Asia via India. Particularly, I would like to give the example is that if you see the Southeast Asian countries, there are majority of the people are follow the one sect of Salafi. So that kind of thing you can find only in India, in the southern part of India, in Kerala. In the Kerala is also, they are follow same kind of sects. And on the other hand, you can see in terms of the trade relation in the past, before the ancient period of time, you can easy to find out that the traders, they come to Gujarat, and most of the traders, those who settle in the west coast of Thailand, in Andaman Gulf, so they come from the Gujarat. So if you know that the one city, that is name is Surathani in Thailand. And that Surathani, basically, if you go through the origin of the name, you will find there is a one city is called in Gujarat, that is called Surat. And Surat is considered that time was the Manchester of India. So that is also textile. So traders, they come from, and that is why you have to heard about the name of Nana family also migrate from the Gujarat family. So trade and religions also came from that. And another phase is, you can say, during the post independent, because India got independent 1947. After that, that India take the policy of particularly the foreign policy of non-alignment movement. At that time, the Cold War also going on. So India also not much engaged in this period of time since 1947 to 1990, until the Cold War was finished. And after that, another phase, the very important phase, we called when India adopted the Lucas policy. And so you can see the journey with India and ASEAN since 1992, when India first become a dialogue partner with India, until now. There are various points of period of time, just like in 1992, India become a sectoral partnership. It means Lucas policy is not only economic engagement, because the cultural and the civilizational engagement already been there. So the objective of the Lucas policy is just because India opened their economy, so they want more economic engagement with the Southeast Asian countries, and followed by India become a dialogue partner in 1996, and later period of time in 2002, India and ASEAN become a summit level partnership. So it means every year they have a summit between India and ASEAN countries. And also at the same time, because they are already understand there's a cultural legacy and cultural DNA linkage is always be there, but they are more focused on the economic perspective. So in this regard, they have made India ASEAN business councils. In that, all the private companies, they have to be exchanged, particularly the investment part. So there have to be more investment, Indian company to more investment. And but in followed by in 2008, India and ASEAN make very important decision on the free trade agreement. So, and after that in 2002, 2012, they have to be adopted the strategic partnership. Okay, so and in this now you can see that India and ASEAN has 20 years of the dialogue partnership, 18 years of summit levels, and 8 years of strategic partnership. So in you know that in 2018, January 2026, when the India celebrated Republic Day. So that time is the first time in the history of independent India that 10 chief guests have attended the Republic Day, because they celebrated 25 years of partnership. So that is a very important. It is the first time happening in India when you have a 10 chief guests on the occasion of Republic. It also shows you have a very strong relationship. And on the other hand, we can say why India is important for India. To me, I can say 4 factors, which is one is strategically in the point of the play a role in the Indo-Pacific. Another one is energy, because energy is very important component of any economic for the economic growth. So because India is also depend on energy perspective, because 70% of their, of course, they are depend on Gulf countries. But now recently Indian government have to announce they have to make the international alliance for the renewable energy. So in this regard, they have to be work with the ASEAN countries. So on the other hand, you will see that particularly in South China Sea, and so in this regard, they have many projects with the Vietnam, particularly in the energy sector. So energy is also very important because energy security is essence for economic progress. So in this regard, energy also one of the component for India to be engaged in ASEAN countries. Another very important, of course, the economic relationship. When we know that if you combine all together the economies of the both ASEAN as an entity and India, you will find the $5 trillion US. And on the other hand, 1.9 billion people altogether. It is a huge market for the both. Okay, but we will discuss about what are the challenges and prospect in this regard, particularly India and ASEAN. On the other hand, particularly in the policy of Act-East policy, that is very important. One component has been included apart from the economic engagement and strategic, that is how to develop the states of India, particularly Northeast India, because Northeast India one of the most diverse country, and since independent it is very much you can say one of the least developed region in the world, in India, and also is very critical, particularly if you know about the geography of the northeast part of that is surrounded by 5 international borders, and only they have to connect only with mainland of India, only very we call chicken neck. So that is very initial. So in order to be develop the northeast part, so they have to take in very important role. So particularly if you see the lot of activities is going on after adoption of the Act-East policy in 2014. So after that, they have a lot of engagement. I would like to mention some of you that recently they have organized the Northeast Festival in Thailand. So in order to people have to understand, and some extent if you go to the history, you will find there is a lot of legacy between the Southeast Asia and northeast part of India. So especially you can say the cultural wise is very much similar. So and you see that the 2 things I would like to mention here. One is connectivity is very important in order to become a vibrant region of India. So in this regard, the first time ever in the couple of years back, the direct flight from Bangkok to Guwahati. Before there was no connectivity. Your connectivity is very essential because it leads to the people-to-people contact and the more opportunity, more opportunity in suburb area for doing business. So in this regard, and also recently I read one articles because India also focus on the soft power. So particularly they have to be attract the people of Thailand, particularly for the Buddhist tourism. So they have to find they have some Buddhist circuit. So in order to be connect with them also, and in this regard, they want that Thai people, particularly those who are believe in the Buddhism, so they have to go and visit that Buddhist circuit in Northeast. So more engagement with the Northeast part of India. So as I say that the geography is very important, as Achan already mentioned, that two very important geographies which I believe in is very important for India and ASEAN relation. One is Northeast part of India and Myanmar, because Myanmar could be a bridge between India and Southeast Asia in order to the physical connectivity is concerned. And Thailand is also, because Thailand, if you see the location of the Thailand in Southeast Asia is very central positions. So, and also Thailand is one of the very close, means the country is welcoming to everyone and work together. So, and also the religion of Buddhism also some extent make the good relation between India and Thailand. I think Achan will be talk about more after that about India-Thailand relationship. And so there are four things I would like to say that is very important for India, to be engaged with the ASEAN countries. And if you go through some economic cooperation between them, between the India and ASEAN last 28 years, you have find that there is an improvement, but the growth is not much. That's like you can say that in terms of the trade in 2019 and 18 and 19, it is trade 97 billion US dollar between India and ASEAN. But one surprise thing you will see that out of them 45 billion US dollar in service sector. It means that something is missing the goods, because of course if you see the trade deficit, so in the trade deficit, India is down in the trade deficit with the ASEAN countries. It means they more import than export to the ASEAN countries, and but only that one section of service sectors. So economic cooperation is not very up to date as compared to, if you compare with the China. In this regard, with the ASEAN and China, you will find there is around 400 billion US dollar. Is a lot of differences is there. So in this regard, India need to be work hard, and of course for that I can say only thing is that to more connectivity is required. I just would like to focus on that, particularly in the last 5 years when the new government of India came into Egypt, and they have to be convert look East policy into Act East policy. So they have to taken into the 3 C's. One is connectivity, culture, and commerce. And on the other hand, and followed by, there is one more component they have to add at later period of time, that is called a capacity building. Because in capacity building, India is a very good, particularly in the IT sector and services. So they have to, particularly, and also in the education field as well. So I want to say that if you talk about the connectivity is have many, but physical connectivity is very important, because if they have a physical connectivity is there, so more people to people contact, it is also enhance the trade and commerce activities. And on other hand, we can say the culturals. So a lot of activities you can find right now in Southeast Asian regions, in the cultural aspect, of course, religions, because of there is a cultural DNA linkage of India in Southeast Asia. And commerce point of view, if you see that, and now because India is a very good in software and IT, so they have create one project that is called to develop the digital village in the basically CMLV regions. You go Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, and Vietnam. And also for India, because India Act East policy is not only for the Southeast Asia, it is also is bigger than they have to more work on Indo-Pacific and other East Asian countries. So, but for India, ASEAN is a central position of its Act East policy. And in this regard, if you see that recently Indian government, because whatever India strength is, they have always go to offer to in through which they have to engage in the ASEAN countries. So recently they have to be given the 1,000 of PhD scholarship to the citizen of the ASEAN countries from the for the most prestigious Institute of Technology. So they have in the phases wise they have to be give the fellowship. So mean those citizens of the Southeast countries, they want to be study further study in that, so they have offer the scholarship. This is also very important. So now I will come on the prospect. That is very important to understand. As I mentioned before, is that there is a population, if 1.9 billion population, it is about 23% of the world population. It means if you have integrate and work together, and out of them very important is the youth population. If you go to the figures, you will find is that India is a country of the young. 65% of the people under the age of 35. And if you talk about the youth, it means it is a economic dependent. And if totally, if you have to engage, and on the other hand, ASEAN country have 50% of the population under the 30 years. So now you can see how important youth to bring. And in my book, I will going to talk, and that is why I given the chance to opportunity to contribute the articles. Young people, scholars, they have to more study about India and ASEAN countries. And in this regard, I would like to inform you all that there is a one forum. Right now, I am a part of that, and it is called FICCI Global Youth Entrepreneurship, in order to awareness to create the spirit of entrepreneurship. And I am an international advisor, so I also want to have to connect. So youth to youth connection is very important, because youth has energy, you have educated, so they have entrepreneur, and they can be best way to find the opportunities to work together. And on the other hand, recently, if you see in 2014, one very important component which are not very much inactive, that is called Indian diaspora. Indian diaspora, the person of origin Indian people are living in Southeast Asia. That is important. So present government, they have a very important policy to how to connect with the Indian diaspora, means person of Indian origin, those who are living in different countries in Southeast countries, how to connect with them. So they have to connect, because they are the very important position in the local communities. So in this regard, Indian government, because they organize every year in India, Parvasi Divas, means day for the Indian community. But the first time ever, after in the case of Actis policy, they organize overseas Parvasi Divas in Singapore, 2018. Okay, so it is also shows that Indian government try to be connect with the Indian diaspora. So there are two kind of Indian diaspora. That is one called NRI, one called PIO, person of Indian origins. So main important target for them is how to be Indian origin. So in this hall also there is a one person is sitting. He is also a person of Indian. He's a Thai, but he's an Indian origin. What is your name? Abhishek Dubey. He's a Thai. So he is a PIO. So now, because they know that these communities can be play a very significant role to make the relationship for countries where they are living. So Indian diaspora is also very important element to enhance the good relation between India and ASEAN countries. And as I can say that India is not it is not very important only for summit level. They have a bilateral engagement with the various countries. As of now, there is a good relation with Indonesia, Vietnam, and Singapore. Some extent, sometime happen with India and Malaysia, some issues, but there is a very strong. So these are the building blocks when they have engaged bilaterally with the countries. Is a building block for the overall relationship between India and ASEAN countries. And if you talk about the challenges, of course, as I mentioned about that, challenges about how to increase the trade and commerce activities between the India and ASEAN countries. And also in this regard, I think the connectivity, as I mentioned, very important. As of now, we know that there is some project is going on to connect the land physical connectivity from India's northeast part to Thailand through the India-Myanmar, Thailand trilateral. But still it is started for very now, but still is not ready because of various regions are also there. And so in this regard, this is a one area is that it should be try to finish on, but they have to increase also connectivity. If you say air connectivity now is more increasing, if I given the example of India and Thailand, now 18 destinations of Indian cities are connected with the Bangkok directly. Even my own city, before I came here in 11 years back, so I have to go to Delhi and then go, but now I can go to direct to my cities. So this is a more connectivity, more people coming if the connectivity, and if you know that in this regard, if the more air connectivity is there, so the tourism also, and recent past, the Indian tourists came much in Thailand because of small cities also connect with the Bangkok, like Lucknow, like Jaipur, and some other Guwahati. So these people can easy to come, and also it is increase the relation, particularly the economic relationship. And other very important challenges is that, of course, India is a very big country, 1.3 billion people, and now is 300 medium income groups. So consumer market is very big. And in this regard, as far as manufacture experience is concerned, ASEAN is good, but still they have a lot of problem to access to Indian market. So that is one area that is very limited, because due to various factors, there is a less connection, Indian access of the South Asian product in Indian market. So this is a very limited. And as I mentioned already, the infrastructure is very important to develop how to move the trade and connectivity and people to people contact. And most important thing, which I always mention, that educational integration of educational institutions, because India is very good in education. So in order to more exchange of the students, faculty members, researchers, they have to go and collaborate. So you have to more understanding to each other. In my view is that a relationship only enhanced when we have more movement and more understanding, so between the two places. So one thing I would like to, as I mentioned before, that ACT is policy is culture, connectivity, commerce, and then capacity building. And now is very important because community. One thing I would like to add, well, community. So if as a community, because ASEAN is a community and India as a, of course, community to community have some engagement is taken place. So it's also enhanced the relationship between India and ASEAN countries. I think that is, I try to give my some picture before you. I think it is I will stop here, and in the QA session, if there is any questions come in, so I am happy to take it. Thank you very much.
Associate Professor Dunyapan Pisharat, Vice Dean of Academic Affairs, PD Phnom Yom International College, Dr. Muhammad Fahim, and all of you, good afternoon. Today, I think we really come and hear something that related to our country. To me, India is a great country. uh, and I live long in that countries for 10 years in India from my BA to my PhD under the scholarship of Indian government UGC. So I myself consider India as my second home. To me, if we look to India in perspective, I have seen many things in India, like democracy is India's destiny, a country this diverse and complex. 17 major languages, 22,000 dialects, and all the world's major religions cannot really govern any other ways. It has sustained democratic government for almost 60 years. You cannot find coup d'etat. You never find the coming into power of military junta like Thailand in India. And of course, India is surely one of the country's greatest strength when compared with many other developing countries. The change even in the midst of the slum. So I would like to pinpoint that recent Indian success is not only impressive in terms of its speed, growing at the East Asian rate of 8 to 9% a year, but also in terms of its depth and breadth. The Indian miracle is no longer confined to information technology sector, but its manufacturing is taking off. India applied the theory of liberalism to emphasize on democracy and the free market after India economic reform during 1990. And to promote economic liberalization, what we have seen is that India has to open free market and enhance cooperation with major powers and neighboring countries in the South Asia for expanding new economic partnership. So to me, India is now on the verge of becoming a great power. India is emerging as the swing state in the global balance of power. So India has tried to take its place as one of the great power, became a key player in international peace and security. So India has taken giant stride and is fast becoming the world's #1 in software production. And also some people may call India as sleeping giant. So politics in India take place within the framework of its constitution because India is federal parliamentary democratic republic in which the president of India is head of state and the prime minister of India is the head of the government. Why talking about India in perspective, I would like to emphasize also about our relationship with India. The relationship between Thailand and India officially take place when both countries having a diplomatic relation on August 1, 1947. In the same month, India got independent in August 15, 1947. So the relationship of both countries quite smooth continuously. However, at the time of Cold War during 1947 to 1990, The development of relationship and cooperation witness some obstacle of the condition of politics among nations, which divide the world into two camps, that is communism and liberalism, under the leadership of former Soviet Union and United States. So at those days, Thailand has been worried about the threat of communism, therefore deciding to have the policy that pushing Thailand toward the West. In the meantime, India continuously using the policy of non-alignment, although nowadays India changed from non-alignment, which initiated by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, to strategic partnership, having more closer with US. At that time, Thai and India having different political ideology, like India support North Vietnam, Thailand support South Vietnam. India support North Korea, Thailand support South Korea. India recognize Heng Samrin government, while Thailand, afraid of communism, resented to the alienation with both countries. So, in the decade of 1980, India-Thai relationship has been fast developed, especially after the visit of Rajiv Gandhi, Indian Prime Minister, in 1986. So Rajiv Gandhi came to Thailand, resented from the change in the Soviet Union in 1985, while Gorbachev, the leader of the country, has declared the policy of glasnost and perestroika. This policy emphasized on peaceful cooperation with other countries of Asia Pacific, in which Russia needs a constructive role in solving conflict in the region. Yaran Chachai Chunhawan, the then Prime Minister, therefore paid back a visit to India in 1989, and both sides officially visit has proved the way for a good relationship from that time up to the present. Indo-Thai relation in 1990s, we can summarize that at that time, our Prime Minister Chachai Chunhawan, he himself introduced look west policy by considering from various fields. First, the changing of international relation. Why? Because at that time, Cold War is going to end due to the decline of communism in Europe. Secondly, the Cambodian problem nearly solved. Many talks were held, led to the peaceful negotiation at Paris. Different of political ideology between Thailand and India then decreasing respectively. And also we have seen at the same time the change in Indian politics. When Rajiv Gandhi came to power, the non-alignment approach has been less emphasized, or we call it as Nehruvian policy, which used for nearly 40 years. And also Thailand domestic politics. We have seen Yaran Chachai Chunawan foreign policy on economic development oriented, emphasize Thailand economic interest by extending and cooperation with other regions, especially South Asia. And by looking at the South Asian potential, especially India, which become the second largest population of the world after China. Therefore, India, of course, is considered to be one of the large market of the world. And the coming into power of Prime Minister Chuen Lik-pai led to the exchange of the visiting of high-ranking at that time by Dr. Surin Pitsuwan, Deputy Foreign Minister, was initiated by the Deputy Foreign Minister of India, Salman Khurshid, to visit India. So Supachai Panichapak, the economic minister in the government of Chuen Lik-pai, introduced the economic cooperation in subcontinent by inviting India and other countries like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka to join. However, in the period of Prime Minister Banhan Silpa Acha, there was no any cooperation with India due to the conflict between the coalition party. So, Look West policy initiated by Chachai Chunhawan, having the main aim as the following. First, to seek the market and way for investment in foreign country and support the investment of foreign country in Thailand, and of course to strengthen the bilateral relation with target countries. And at those days also we have witnessed in India an important change has been occurred when Prime Minister Nara Simharao came to power in 1991 and began its economic reform by using free market liberalization. The economic cooperation in the subcontinent between Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand then established in 1997. And also Thailand recognized a conference of BISTEC in 1997 and agreed upon to accept Myanmar to be member of BISTEC, and the name of the organization after changed to BIMSTEC or Bay of Bengal Initiative for Middle Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, or BIMSTEC. Or we can say that BIMSTEC is the cooperation between Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand cooperation in order to extend the cooperation framework on bilateral relationship between India and Thailand. At the beginning of 21st century, the relationship between India and Thailand has been increasing developed. Thaksin Shinawatra, the former Prime Minister of Thailand, officially visited India in 2001 for the cooperation on rice trading, including the exchange of market data, the consistent of concentration, and the technology transformation. However, before visiting India of Thaksin Shinawatra Surakiart Sathien Thai, Minister of Foreign Affairs, had visited India in 2001 to have MOU on the drug trafficking between India and Thailand. In this regard, Myanmar and China also participated. And Thaksin Shinawatra again visited India for the second time. In this meeting, the Thai Foreign Minister has been separately meet Minister of Defense of India. With the meeting, the two countries' cooperation has extended into many issues like security and others important issues after the tragedy of 9/11. Nevertheless, in this period, both countries starting to play an important role of joining security cooperation to increase the potential and determination to face the threat of terrorism. Economic and media liberalization in 2004 contribute to the growing of Indian economy. At present, India is the new market which attract many foreign companies. And in the year 2004, India ranked 12th position of world economy and third in Asia after Japan and China. Looking into uh, the both countries' relation, later on Thailand and India having many relation, not only on economics. We have uh, free trade area with India, and Thailand are number 3 among the member of ASEAN that invest in India after Malaysia and Singapore, and number 18 from the foreign investor. And for the Indian investor in Thailand, we have seen many investors of Indian came to Thailand from the year 2000, and it ranked number 9 in terms of the project, and the value of investment increasing from 2000 to 34. So we have a very good military cooperation, trade relation. However, we have a problem uh, with challenging the relationship. In this problem, we have seen that trading with India, we have seen the problem high rate of taxation. The process of custom is very slow and not systematic, with lack of unity in data collection. Looking into others area here in PD Phnom Yong International College, we do have Indian studies. We have a lot of cooperation, and our students also exchange uh, the semester of education with many Indian university. And India is the country that nowadays promote the soft power. Therefore, we have seen the role of India in Southeast Asia or ASEAN in many programs like Mae Kong, Kongka, and others. And if we look into the present development of relationship on politics, security and military, we have seen that both countries agree upon to upgrade relationship and develop this relationship, especially into strategic partnership. Uh, Thailand hope to see Indian active role in East Asia and employ cooperation on economic link between Thai, ASEAN, and India. And on the land connection between Thai, India, and Myanmar, these 3 countries support the highway completion which connect northeast of India, destined difficult to reach with Southeast Asia. And in this regard, ASEAN member can connect with Delhi, Mumbai, Industrial Corridor, and Chennai, Bangalore Economic Corridor. And India hope that with this highway, a lot of good will moving fast, less price, and this good will cross Myanmar to Thailand, including Thai neighbor. And we have seen the sea route connectivity between India and the Pacific Ocean through the infrastructure of Chennai of India and Tawit of Myanmar, including Lam Chabang of Thailand, will make the chain of product to be more strengthened. There were a lot of traveling in a big city of both countries, while Indian tourists, around 1 million, had visited Thailand. And now we have seen a lot of Indian travelers in Thailand to come to Pattaya, Bangkok, and many others. So despite the connectivity between two countries, both sides having MOU to upgrade the cooperation on security and strategy, which will cover transnational crime, the management of disaster, humanitarian assistance, law enforcement, maritime security, sea security, and exchange of intelligence news. So 1996, Thailand declared Look West policy. Look West policy means looking into South Asia, aimed at moving toward India and other countries of South Asia. And it's the high time that Thailand will use uh, Look West policy or the policy that given a priority to South Asia. At the same time, India also having the policy of Look East policy. So with this relation, we have a lot of cooperation. Like we have seen the visit of royal family. We have seen the mechanism of political security, joint commission, military relation between two countries, army relation, naval relationship, air force. However, when we talk about the competitiveness between Thailand and India, we have to solve such kind of problem because both countries have many similarity of goods like agricultural goods, industrial goods, for example, frozen shrimp, ready garment, textile, leather, and jewelry. However, both sides should change from competitiveness to find its own strength. Thailand is on the upper hand on the quality of goods, while India have advantage of GSP from USA, EU, and if both can agree upon, both will be benefit. So some businessmen still not too sure on working with Indian. India still having trade exclusion on small industry and in the medium size industry production for customer. Problem in India which affect relationship with Thailand. Thailand pay much attention toward economic and investment. However, there appear some obstacles, especially first, the investor attitude toward India. It is a matter of fact that Thai investors do not given much interest to India market because both India and Thai investors are familiar with other countries. India trading policy still protect from foreign goods. However, lastly, I would like to touch upon Thai-India relation on social and culture. Of course, Thai-India relation on social and culture lasted not less than 700 years. It is a Thai who get this influence from India and Thai signing the agreement on culture with India in 1977, which is the starting point officially between the two. And from then on, Thailand having policy of intimation with India culture continuously because Thai culture so close with India and India influence Thai both on social and culture. Uh, I used to stay in India, so when I start counting uh, the number or from 1 to 10, we can compare with a Thai language. In Hindi, we start with ek, do, teen, chaat, paanch, che, saat, aat, now, das. Ek equal to Thai ek mean 1. Do equal to Thai mean 2. Teen equal to 3 mean 3. Chat equal to Chaturat mean 4. Panch, Pancha 5. So we have very close and we have taken many words from India since early in the morning up to uh, we sleep, we taken many words like Usha, also morning ashram อาสมเศรษฐีเศรษฐีปัตนาพัฒนาวิทยาลาวิทยาลัย or even dosa 10 tosa 1 decades. So looking into the cultural relationship, Thai India are so close, but we not we become very close during uh, the what you call Cold War because of different political ideologies. But in terms of cultural uh, relationship, we have very close. And even up to now, we start many things like we used to talk in India in the morning, afternoon, and everything, and many what you call uh, aspect of Indian culture also coming into Thai, using into Thai. Therefore, relationship between two countries, I hope from 21st century will last long and continues to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ajahn, for giving the overall picture of India-Thailand relationship. Now we have one more session talking about my book with my colleague Faisal Ahmed. Now he is going to join online. So we have some communication with him, and staff can be connect with him, and I will introduce him, and I have some questions so we can discuss. And he is also very expert on geopolitics, and so I would like to invite Dr. Faisal. He's here. Yes, yes. He is coming online from New Delhi, and he's a author of this book along with me. So we can exchange our views, how this idea are coming from this book, and we can. So I would just like to inform you that the idea coming from this book is 3 years back. Yes, hello, Dr.
Yeah, hello,
Faisal.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. Nice to see you, and welcome to in PBIC online. And I'm happy to see you. And
Thank you very much.
now we already done first session. I think you were online, you watching to us, and now
Yes.
I just talked to our book. So before I'm going to invite Dr. Faisal, I would like to say the idea coming from this book is 3 years back. This college organized one conference, India ASEAN relation, exploring future prospect, and Dr. Faisal, fortunate he was part of this panel, and I was moderator. And the idea coming after we have concluded this seminar, and we come out to have some edited book. And we, but target, as I mentioned before, we target about the young scholars. So we given the chance to contribute their perspective on India-ASEAN relation. So we offered 8 contributors. They have different, and there are some of doing the blue economy engagement between India and ASEAN. Someone is women rights, education system, as well as trade and geoeconomics perspective. So without any further delay, and before I'm going to invite, I would like to introduce to Dr. Faisal. And Dr. Faisal is an associate professor at Ford School of Management, New Delhi, India. He has 16 years of experience as an academic researcher, trade policy consultant. His research interests including Indo-Pacific trade, geopolitics, and ocean diplomacy. He held the position of consultant to United Nations and other organizations. He is frequently invited as a speaker, panelist, resource person by institution and think tank in India and abroad. He has published several research papers, books, chapters, monographs, and he is the author of textbooks. Textbooks is the second edition, is coming out, I think, Business Environment, India and Global Perspective. And he have articles also in the newspaper like the Hindu Business Line, South China Morning Post, Economic Times, State Times in Singapore, and Bangkok Post as well. Because couple of years, his article came in editorial page in Bangkok Post about geopolitics. He has been interviewing expert by national and international media, including Vietnam TV, Rajya Sabha, TV and BBC. Apart from that, he's an expert in also in South China Sea. So without any further delay, so Faisal, I welcome you again. And the very first question I would like to ask you, can you tell us about our book of India-ASEAN engagement, economic and social dimension?
Thank you, Dr. Fahim, and thank you very much, Professor Jaran Malulim, and thank you for inviting me. So I think, yeah, exactly. This, as we talk about India, and we came out with this edited volume, and I just like to throw some light on that. Dr. Fahim, I hope you can recall that a couple of years back in an informal conversation, we thought of this idea of jointly coming out with an edited book on India-ASEAN engagements. And we did it and finally agreed to keep the focus on the essence of economic and social context between India and ASEAN. Now, when one wants to study the economic or the geopolitical dimensions between the two countries or within a region or with one country and a region, there is an established discourse, but there is always a potential for newer perspective and there's always a potential for rational narratives. Now, this book presents some excellent understanding on the blue economy, India-ASEAN trade agreements, especially focusing on the non-tariff barrier side of it, the physical linkages between India and ASEAN, transport connectivities there. Also, it assimilates, I can say, a very good regional perspective on the CLMV countries, which is Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam, part of the ASEAN only. But if we intend to decipher all the types of social linkages between India and ASEAN, we will find that it also incorporates two thoroughly written papers or chapters, which is on comparative analysis of various social issues between the two sides. So the narrative which are present in this book contributes immensely to the thematic discourse, which is on India-ASEAN cooperation on the economic and social aspects. So all issues have a strategic, social and economic significance, and all the more in a pandemic and also in a post-pandemic scenario, we actually need to focus on the basic characteristics of society and economy, and we actually need to develop a pragmatic roadmap for the future generations. So I hope the articles, the chapters which are there in the book will actually help in developing that knowledge path, which can help us in deciphering some sort of pragmatic roadmap for the future of India and ASEAN.
Thank you, Dr. Faisal. One very brief question for you. I think I would like to your perspective, which we already discussed about the overview perspective of India and ASEAN. I would like to ask the way ahead. What is the prospect of India-ASEAN relationship, particularly after the post-COVID scenario in a new world order?
Exactly. Let me tell you that when I talk about when I talk about ASEAN specifically, the first thing I must say is that ASEAN is a congregation which is economically progressive, culturally vibrant, and geopolitically strategic. Now, since its inception, if you see in 1967, ASEAN has traversed a very, very progressive journey in economic and cultural front. And beside this, it continues to dominate the geopolitical discourse even today. The point which is very critical to understand here is that ASEAN's significance is that as a region, I must focus something on that. As a region, its significance has been attached to the fact that it has been able to gain immense learning, and it has experimented with best practices in all spheres, be it economic, cultural, or political. Now, this has been possible because of its pragmatic economic policies over the decades, and the deep importance it has attached to cultural connectedness that also deserves a mention. ASEAN's learning and the progressive attitude has been carved out because of many factors and events, like be it the learnings from the Asian financial crisis, or the negotiating experience in the RCEP or the TPP, and also the experiences from dealing with initiatives under the Mekong Ganga Cooperation or the BIMSTEC, or even you can say it can be the geopolitical experiences related to the ASEAN centrality or the China-US rivalry in the Indo-Pacific region. uh, and a lot of such things, including the how ASEAN members, some of the ASEAN members are in a dispute with the South China in the South China Sea issues. So all these issues are there. But as you asked to talk about some of the points related to the way ahead, so I will specifically focus on some of those aspects. In fact, what I feel that the first and the most important point is how do we revive small businesses and develop a resilient supply chain. Now, this is very, very critical because in the post-pandemic scenario, I mean the pandemic is still going on, and today as well as in a post-pandemic scenario, we find that the supply chains have been disrupted to a large extent, and this disruption has actually caused a problem with the global value chains also, and with the production capacity and the supply side capacity in various countries. Now, we have seen that recently supply chain resilience initiative has been launched by Japan, Australia, and India to reduce their dependence on Chinese supply chains. But how beneficial it could be once RCEP is signed, because we are already aware that ASEAN is there in RCEP. So once the RCEP is signed, how beneficial this supply chain resilience initiative will be, that remains a little, critical question, because India, in any case, is at the moment not a part, not intending to be part of the RCEP. In RCEP, Japan and Australia will be there, and China will also be there, but India will not be there. So, so the point is that how can this supply chain initiative create a level playing field for India also? This need to be pondered upon, and ASEAN has a very significant role, because we have seen that recently all these Japan, Australia, and India, they are also trying to rope in ASEAN into the supply chain initiative. Now, the second point that I want to highlight is if India doesn't join RCEP at all, how will India-ASEAN relations evolve? Now, this is very, very important, because ASEAN will be in RCEP, and ASEAN will get better trade concessions and trade deals with other RCEP countries as compared to India. So does that mean that the only way out will be to renegotiate the India-ASEAN FTA? Which the government of India has specifically mentioned that they intend to do it. And if the ASEAN-India FTA is renegotiated or revisited, what could be the modalities for the future and how it works out? This also becomes a very, very critical question. The another point that I want to highlight is about the Blue Dot network. Like we have recently seen that there's a Blue Dot network which is being and others, and it is seen as an alternative to China's Belt and Road. So can Blue Dot network as an alternative to China act as an alternative to China's Belt and Road initiative, and what will be ASEAN's stand on the issue? This is very again very critical. So BDN, as we call it, Blue Dot network, is in fact an initiative which is formed by the United States, Japan, and Australia, and it aims to provide assessment of infrastructural development of projects at a global level. Though it is largely said that it is meant for global level, but the focus in any case is on the Indo-Pacific region itself. Now, this BDN network aims to mobilize the private capital and help in infrastructural development, and would also be sort of certification system for roads, ports, and bridges. And in November, why I'm raising this point is that in November 2019, precisely 4th November 2019, the Indo-Pacific Business Forum was held in Bangkok, Thailand itself, on the sidelines of the 35th ASEAN Summit. And BDN, this Blue Dot network issue, was formally announced during that meeting only. So in a pandemic scenario, in a post-pandemic scenario, will this BDN take up, the BRI, or what is going to happen? But as I perceive it, it seems that this United States-led Blue Dot network is actually gradually losing its appeal, especially because of the pandemic scenario. Now, one or two more, a couple of points more I want to highlight in terms of the road ahead, way ahead. I just want to focus one more point on the geopolitical aspect, which is very, very critical. Now, how can ASEAN support India's role as a net security provider in the Indian Ocean? The geopolitical reality is well known to everyone. In the Eastern Indian Ocean, ASEAN has a substantive role to play in India's security and strategic outreach. Also, the Quad meeting was recently held, we have seen, but unfortunately, the countries could not even come out with a joint statement. This again raises very critical issues about the relevance of Quad and the relevance of security architecture in the Indian Ocean. So how ASEAN supports India's role as a net security provider in the Indian Ocean? This remains geopolitically very relevant and very critical question to address. And finally, I want to point out one more issue, which is though a very, very conventional issue, but still I find that it is going to matter even more in a post-pandemic world. And this issue is the people-to-people contact between India and ASEAN is absolutely going to matter even more in a post-pandemic world scenario. Of course not, because the pandemic did not allow us to travel to the beautiful countries of ASEAN, but because only through people-to-people contact can confidence-building measures be strengthened and they can be leveraged for mutual economic gains. So I think these are some of the issues, Dr. Fahim, that I think are very, very, critical in terms of road ahead for India and ASEAN in a post-pandemic scenario. We need to provide enough policy space for these issues, and we need to have some pragmatic outcomes coming out so that India-ASEAN relations and the people-to-people relations between the two countries can be further strengthened.
Thank you, Dr. Faisal, for your insightful information about the future prospect of India-ASEAN relationship after the post-COVID scenarios. And you rightly mentioned that very important thing is that during the COVID scenario, the global value chain has been disrupted, how to be recovered and how to play, and also the role of India in the RCEPs in the future. And recently the Quad meetings. And also, you rightly mentioned that the enhancement of the relationship is depend on the people-to-people contact through the visiting. So it is not possible as of now, but in the future, let's see. So thank you for your wonderful, insightful on the book. And I would like to mention about our book as well. And it is available in Amazon. It published in a New Century publication in New Delhi, and we have planning to do some more book on this continuity of this book in the future, along with Dr. Faisal. And now I open the fora for if there are any questions. So please ask the question, and please mention your name and where are you from and to whom you want to ask the questions, please. You can be share your observation. Yeah.
Hello. Okay, so my name is Lily. Pacharaviran Jaran Pacharapon. Just call me Lily, that is easier. And I'm currently doing my PhD at UCL London, as I have mentioned earlier. Thank you for the very interesting presentations for both of you. And the insights I got from your overview about Indo-Thai relation is very valuable. And both of you have touched upon the roles of attitudes in the people to people contact in these Indo-Thai relations. But if you please, could you elaborate more whether the attitude is currently or historically being an obstacle or opportunity for this relationship to flourish?
So I think as the attitude is concerned, I think as I told you in my speech that youth is play a very important role. And right now, because India has been changed last 70 years. And if you know, particularly the people, Thai people, particularly those who attach with India, they're cultural and if you see the new generation, some extent are missing. So the way they think. So now in this way, as I told you that what India also changed their uh, policies toward the engage with the youth. Yeah, so as I mentioned in my speech also that they have a global, so new, because new generation have different aspirations. Okay, so of course they have a thing just like if you see the now Bollywood also is one of the area where they can influence Thai society to know what is India is, because India is there are a lot of changes took place last 40 and 50 years, especially the 1991. So in this way, new generation, of course they have to be understand, as I show, understanding is very important. And in this way they have a connectivity, people to people contact. And I think the area which is change to attitude to uh, is that you have to be understand India and what is the positive aspect of India you have to take it into consideration. And it is under process, and a lot of programs is going on. As I told you, there are various festivals, and recently they have festival is going on, Bollywood bazaar kind of thing. So it is also attract to understand the India. So understanding is very important, because but one thing is very why attitude, in terms of the attitude towards India, is because new generation want to see opportunity, what they will get economically, in terms of jobs, in terms of business. Okay, now in the recent past, in my own experience, some of my students, not here, some other part of in Thailand, they approach me how to understand the market of India, because they realize India is such a big market, consumer market. Okay, so that is changing. And Indian government also, some extent, they try to create the environment to make the doing the business, and lot of policies has been changed in India to attract the foreigners to come here, invest here, doing business. So a lot of changing is taking place in India, which is according to the requirement of the people, like in Thailand. So I think that is in changing. And I think the business aspect is market aspect is a very is now is a one of the prospect area for the new generation in Thailand. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I, I would like to uh, add more things about relationship and the exchange between people to people. So looking into the reality, Thai relation, Thailand relation uh, with India. First of all, if we look back into the reality, we have seen that India and Thailand located in each other extended neighborhood, share a maritime boundary in Andaman Sea. Okay, India's bilateral relations with Thailand are, of course, rooted in history. Okay, uh, age old social and cultural interaction and extensive people-to-people contact. The sharing of Buddhism is, of course, I and many teachers from here, we used to go with our students to Puthakaya, Saranat, Isipatana, Marika, Taiwan, or others. This the sharing of Buddhism is reflected in regular pilgrimage to place of Buddhist interest in India by a large number of Thai people. And of course, Hindu element can be found among those reflected in Thai architecture, arts, culture, dance, drama, literature. The Thai language, of course, incorporate with Pali and Sanskrit influence. And when talk about people to people, we have seen a large uh, Indian diaspora or Indian overseas living and working in Thailand. Uh, Another important wall in the past 2 decades, with regular political exchange, growing trade and investment. Uh, so India ties with Thailand have now evolved into a comprehensive partnership like India Act East policy has been complemented by Thailand's Look West policy. Uh, in bringing the two countries closer, I think that, we have seen many programs like, for example, uh, Festival of India in Thailand. Yes, in which over 6,000 people participate in the third International Yoga Day. Okay, celebration at Chulalongkorn University, and here we do arrange India Fun Fair. Yes, so in terms of people to people, now there is a lot of cooperation between uh, Thai people and Indian people, and uh, we have also visited many Indian university to have MOU with Thammasat University. Yes, that I would like
One
to
thing I
emphasize.
want
Yes.
to add, very important as far as attitude is concerned, because when the Thai people go there, so they have to go to very limited number of the places, Taj Mahal, Delhi, and Boriga. But India is more than that. India is so big country, and lot of things India offer. South India is also very beautiful. So what Thai people have to do, you have to be try to in order to comprehensive understanding. So you have to be go to different part of India. Okay, then you can have a comprehensive understanding of India because they are very limited. Now they go to the Bodh Gaya, Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, and Kashmir. But there is in South India totally missing. This is also part of India. So overall, because in understand India, so you have to be go to different places and you will find different experience, different culture groups. So this attitude should be changed. For example, if you know the Thai people, what kind of food do you like it? So mostly they say that chicken tandoori and biryani, is it? But I can say that Indian food is very diverse in nature. If you go to the south, almost every state they have own culture, own food. So as I tell you, comprehensive understanding if you want to know, so you have to be visit different places to explore India. And I always suggest to my student that try to visit some rural area villages, then you will see very interesting things before you. This is not easy to find in any book, anything. So for Thai should we have comprehensive understanding, so then we need to visit different part of India. So of course education is a one platform that if they go there and study there, so they have a time in the holidays they can visit. So you can go to the south. Okay, India, that is also very beautiful. So diversified your places, so this is also you can understand comprehensive understanding of India.
Thank you. Personally, I have been to India 3 times. I've been to the south. I've been to Goa, Kerala. To the north, I've been to Odamas like Delhi, Agra. Well, I always tell everyone that ask me that India is a country of the size of Europe. So you cannot judge India in terms of just in the scope of country. It's actually a subcontinent. But if I may ask you another question, so you have tell me a lot about what Thai people think about India. What about Indian people? What do they see of Thailand?
I can give the answer with I interact with the person who came here, Thailand. Of course, they come for the tourists, but I always same thing I said to them that you have to be explore Thailand. So don't go to Bangkok and Pattaya only. Is more than that. So you have to more understanding. Same given. And recent past, what I observe is that because India is emerging economies and per capita income is rising in India, so they can visit. And also some of them, I realized when they saw here, they saw the opportunities in terms of positive thing, because many people have appreciate the thing which is in the Thai system, particularly the traveling and service sectors, and also they got some opportunities in terms of the business. So I same thing I always convey them, and that you have to be change your perspective, only limited. So you have to explore more. You go to Chiang Mai, you go to Phuket and some other parts. So you have to more understanding. You try to understand, because if they come to Bangkok and Pattaya, they have a very limited perception about Thailand. Whatever they see, they have to be go. But if you more traveling in different part of Thailand, so I think it is changing now, because now some students also try to come no exchange basis here, exchange students. So that is also one area they have changed their attitudes. But of course it is going to change, and positive response from them. And one thing also I realized, that those who are regular coming, so they also some extent to appreciate and try to convey to the people of India what is the good thing of Thailand. So they try to convey in own people wherever they go. So I think as in today we will talk about people with contact is very more important, and you have to go to very diverse places and get the comprehensive understanding. Accordingly, you can make decision for relationship. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone?
Oh, one thing I would like to add, there is a word that if you can survive in India, you can survive anywhere in the world. Wow. It is a talk among foreigners who study in India. Why? Because it's diversity of India, and we have to face many things in India. I have traveling more than 60 countries with for various works, but I never forget India, because India is very lively, very fantastic, and many things unseen that I still enjoy India. And the knowledge of India, in which seven civilizations meet each others. So that's why really you have seen many things, contrast, many things, beauty, the beauty of a nature, a beauty of human being, and many things together. Yes.
That's really a charm of India.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's a good note for me, because the longest time I spent in India was 3 weeks.
Oh,
When I was
see.
in Rishikesh and Goa.
Oh,
So
very good.
that means that I will survive everywhere in the world.
Yes.
Rishikesh. And
One thing also, Thai perception also changed to Indian. Because what I know from Achan and some other, that there is a one phrase was very famous: if you see snack, yeah, Indian, you have to kill Indian first. Because, but now that kind of perception has been changed, because some positive thing is coming from Indian, and lot of experts expert are working in Thailand. And one thing I would like to add, that the Thai cricket is a very popular sports in India. Cricket. Okay. So now Thai women team as well, they played the World Cup. You don't know, no? And before they visited to World Cup in Australia, they visited to India for preparation to India, because the condition of India very harsh, and so they have to work hard. So that given the boost to perform well, and that is why this is a one very positive aspect of India towards Thailand, to promote the cricket in Thailand. And now I am very surprised that Thai people still don't know their women team all are Thai. They played the World Cup.
Maybe
World
it's
Cup.
like the
Only
women
10 countries they
football
played.
team.
Out of them, Thai team. So the groom their cricketing skill because of Indian and Pakistan, Bangladesh. So I think this is a one of the exchange also, that we can be do the Thai youth as well in this regard.
I'm
Okay,
very
thank you.
positive because India is really good at cricket.
Yes. Anyone?
ค่ะ if there's no question so let what question one more นะ okay
May I have one question for Dr. Mohammad Fahim? Uh, Several Indian scholars have tried to focus on how to connect northeastern India with the western part of Southeast Asia. But according to Southeast Asian perspective, we have a very limited knowledge about this landlocked and hinterland region of India. We don't know much about what is Assam, Manipura, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh. Comparing to Uttar Pradesh, New Delhi, or even Kashmir, I think some of Thai people have deeper knowledge about that region rather than northeastern India. So my question is, could you please provide us a little bit briefly about geographical configuration as well as socio-cultural and ethnographic features of northeastern India so that we may have better understanding about this region and especially how to connect Brahmaputra basin with Ayeyarwady or Chao Phraya basin. We need to understand northeastern India.
And being a geographer, I just say that geography, why if you connect the land connectivity between India and Southeast Asia. So northeast part is the neighbors, but due to the over last 70 years, this region is neglected and the least developed countries. As far as legacy and I mean ethnographic connection, these people are also Mongoloid race. Okay, so just I would like to give the example. If any Thai visit to the Taj Mahal, and if you as a foreigner you have to pay $20, okay, for entry. So some Thai student who know that it is very costly for them, it is about 700 rupees, and for Indian only 20 rupees or 30 rupees. So they say that I am from Manipur, because by face, by stature, almost same. So it means there is, and what I read that there is a Thai is a word, Thai. So that is also in Assam. So, but there is a missing part because there is a no connectivity is there from that from this Southeast Asia. So particularly if you see the engagement with the India and ASEAN countries, mainly from eastern coast of India, like Orissa, Bengal, Chennai. Okay, through the in the ancient period of time, because this is a sea routes, and recently part in the central part of New Delhi. So the if you go to more, so recently they, as I told you, the air connectivity has been started from Guwahati, and Assam is the one of the most important state. There we call Seven Sisters, and for your information is that this region is most 325 ethnic groups, more diverse in nature. So that is why you can see the conflict, and also international borders are there. And I think that the only way to understand this northeast part of India is to have to be visit, and there is a lot of scope is there, because of if you see the geography itself, you will find a lot of mountains and hill stations, and also very unique culture of Assam. So I think the way is to more connect. So in this regard, Government of India taken very serious notes, particularly when they have a active policy. So apart from the ASEAN is a central position, and at the same time they take the national interest of development of the northeast part of India. So ultimately, final word I can say is that there is a more connectivity. People have to be visited, and fortunate our student previous year they have to be study one semester in Guwahati. Now they understand what is the northeast part of India. They visited some local villages. Okay, so as I told you, comprehensive understanding is required. For that, we have to connectivity and people to people contribution. And Northeast Festival also conducted here in couple of years back to show the diversity of the culture through their music, dance, and other cultural activities. So that is now Indian government, they understand also that in order to be connect with and there is a historical, yeah, cultural linkages are there, because in the past, if you see, there is some migration also taken place from India to southeast part of through this area in the past. So that is the need to be revived again, to connectivity, more understand. And I would like to say that few days back in the last month, I also given the same kind of I was a speaker, and the same question will be asked: how India ASEAN relation benefit to northeast, because as I told you, geographically very advanced. Okay, so now if the more connectivity, so opportunity will become for the northeast people as well as the people of the Southeast Asia. So they have to explore the thing, because they have to offer. So a lot of companies and investors, they can invest over there in different sector of the economies. Okay, so and of course through this IMT trilateral, it will be come out, so more movement will be taken place. So if you want to go to India, you have to go through the northeast part of India. If you want to go to New Delhi from the Bangkok, so you have to be go through the northeast if it's ready. So that is also important. When we have a connectivity, then more movement and more commerce and trade will be enhanced, and they have a very local traditional things. And I also advise to them, in the last speaking to them, just like Thailand has OT, OTOP, one thumb on one product kind of things. So they have also, I suggest to them that you have to create kind of industry over there, and then you can maybe become a part of export of your product. They have very local. So I think I also asked to my student, those who visited in northeast part of India, they are really surprised, and they find some similarities which is available in terms of the food habit as well, in terms of the foods, the making the food. So they are very similar to the people, what they people eat in Southeast Asia. So ultimately, people to people contact, try to understand the places. Now is connectivity already coming, air connectivity already there, but road connectivity will be come out, the people will be moved. So it is easy to understand. And but there is a lot of similarity which were missing in nowadays. Yeah, thank you.
And we also don't have any question from Facebook Live นะคะ so let's end the session เนอะค่ะพี่นัทค่ะเดี๋ยวก่อน